So the point of this percent method thing we're talking about here is that most people, they take their script, they run through the call, and then they're what I call a qualifier. They're not a setter. Those are two different things in my mind, at least. A qualifier makes sure they have money and that they like know what your offer is. And although you can push that forward and they may or may not show up and they may or may not close, if you really want to be a proficient setter and make the most money you can, you have to do a whole lot more than that. And you do that by addressing people differently, meaning everybody on the other side of the phone has like different characteristics that you can play to and you can use to get them to be a great set. Not a good set and not an okay set, but a great set. So an okay set would be somebody who knows they have a problem and they want to fix it, and that's it. They know they have an issue and they want to fix it, but they don't really know much about you. They don't really know what direction they want to go. They don't know anything. They just know they have an issue. And that's okay. You can set those, but they're likely not going to close. Then you have a good set where it's like a building block. The person knows they have a problem. They need to fix it. And they think that your offer method might be the way, right? That's a good set. Totally should set those all the time. The way you get it to a great set is that they once again stacks on top of each other. So they know they have a problem, they want to fix it. They think that, your offer could be the right fix. But then you are able to take it a step further on the call where they're now thinking like, I know this could be the right thing. How do I do it? Like they're to the how question, not the, okay, cool, put me on the closer so I can see what this is. They're like, okay, I know mainly what this is. I think it can help me. How do I do it? So there's like 3 different levels of sets. The great sets usually close. The good sets, 50-50, I don't know. The okay sets usually never close unless your closers are just like absolute savages. In order to be able to determine an okay set, a good set, and a great set, you have to rewind and understand who's on the other side of the phone. Because if you don't know that, you cannot ask the right questions and change their perspective in the right way. So the percentages. I'm going to put this in a crypto investing situation, and we're going to alter it. The 0 percenter is someone who knows nothing. They don't invest at all. They have never invested. They're a regular person that hasn't done anything. So for any of your offers, Ben, same for you. They've never invested at all. It's the same kind of scheme. For fitness, they've never been involved in fitness. They've never even tried to lose weight. This is brand spanking new to them. That conversation, what do you think the main focus should be getting them to believe? What do you think they should believe when they leave your call? Don't be shy. There's not really a right or wrong answer. But if they know nothing, they've never done anything close to what you're doing, what do you feel like they need to believe?
And they can do it.
Yeah. One thing they can do it. Anything else?
That it works.
That's important. That it works. Most importantly, before all that, they need to realize that they need to make a change. They've never done anything yet before. So like you have to solidify that they're ready to make a change. If they've never tried or done anything in the future, or sorry, in the past, the first number one thing they have to believe and be willing to do is to finally take action on something. Secondly, to that, believing they can do it, believing that it works, believing they can reach their goals. You don't really have to get into the weeds at all with the way or the how at all, because they're just trying to make that first step to do How exactly they do it and what exactly they're doing, I promise you, is so far out for them, they can't even reach that. They're in the infancy stage of making a change. That's your like 0%er. Now you get to your 25%er. So for us, this would be someone that has invested in other ways, but not crypto. So they've invested in real estate, stocks, bonds, options trading, whatever, Robinhood, right? This is the person that we now know believes in investing and changing their situation and having their money make money for them. But they know nothing about crypto at all, right? They're like crypto, nothing. They know nothing, but they believe in investing. For us specifically, what do you feel like we need to help them see? If they've already invested, but we're a crypto offer, what do you feel like maybe we need to help them like understand and visualize?
Value of crypto.
Yeah, 100%.
The
Maybe
value of
Any
your
like
other?
offer.
if they've
What?
invested before, why they either didn't fix the problem or didn't reach their goals, like what was missing, and maybe how your offer is different and has that missing piece.
Mm-hmm. Was someone going to say something else?
That we are the experts, like in crypto, we are the expert. They might have invested in stocks, but we are the expert in crypto, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, kind of all three of those wrapped up into one and some different examples. They're already willing to invest. We don't need to convince them that they need to invest. They already know that. But what they need to know is, and understand is one, what Ben said, what is or not working, and why aren't you at your goals with your current investing strategy? And that there is another investment strategy that can do that. And sure, nothing against trading stocks. I'm sure that's great, but you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and you're not at your goals yet and you're not getting the returns that you want. With that investment, we have to help them see the value in diversifying and or switching to a new investment style. So this conversation isn't about them taking an action on investment. They've already done that. Remember, they're already in investing. Now the focus needs to be about helping them see that it's okay to shift and it's actually a positive thing to shift and or diversify their portfolio to get to their goals. And that although their broker right now can help them from the stock market perspective, they don't know anything about crypto. So it's like your next level up from your 0%er where you're just trying to make sure that they want to make a move and they're willing to part with their money because that's what an investment is. The second person, they're already willing to part with their money. We know that because they invest. But now we shift their brain to why should you invest in crypto over traditional forms of investment? So for you, Ben, this could be potentially stock market versus real estate.
Mm.
Or maybe the 0%er that's never invested before. For fitness, it could be 0%er that's never done anything fitness wise. Maybe for the 25%er, they've done some online cheap programs like Beachbody and monthly things, but never a high ticket, like accountability coaching type situation. Or maybe they've followed some like workout routines, but they've never gone into nutrition tracking. These are the differences that we have to make with different types of people. Okay, now we're at the 75%er. So for us, now this person is in traditional investing or they're into crypto already, but they're just buying and holding on like mainstream exchanges like Coinbase, Kraken, da 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 da. That is literally 1% of crypto, if you don't know that. Anybody can just go buy Bitcoin on Coinbase. It's very easy. Connect your social security number, click, boom, you're good. That is crypto. But what we teach is how you utilize crypto. We don't teach you crypto because there's nothing to teach. It's just a coin. We teach you how to utilize crypto within the decentralized finance space. So it's a whole nother sector. that has absolutely zero to do with buying Bitcoin on Coinbase. So let's say they're like, yeah, I'm in crypto. I have 70,000 worth of Bitcoin. Okay, cool. Where is it at? What do you do with it? They're gonna be like, what do you mean what do I do with it? It's like, well, do you utilize your crypto or you just buy and hold? Now I'm trying to show this person they already know they can invest. They already are bought in on crypto. I don't need to sell them on crypto. I need to sell them and convince them that there's opportunity to utilize their crypto for massive gains rather than just go buy a coin and see what happens. So for Ben, I don't really know your offer, but real estate's a very broad. Real estate investing is like a football field of stuff.
Hmm.
What is your exact strategy that utilizes real estate investing? Is it Airbnb? Is it apartment buildings? Is it flipping? I don't know what it is, right? Like, what's the difference in what you guys do versus real estate investing? There's got to
You want me
be.
to
And if
answer that?
there's, well, yeah, sure. But I'm just thinking through too. But like, do you know the
Uh,
difference? I don't know. You're just brand new on the offer. It'd be
Not
crazy to
really,
ask
not
you.
at this stage, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, there you go.
Well, kind of, but not really. Not succinctly enough.
So that's for us, like a pretty high level person. They're already in crypto, but and not even the highest level people we get because we get one more level over and above that. But I don't need to convince them on investment. I don't need to convince them on crypto. I need to convince them that what they're doing in crypto is not a maximizing. It's like, yeah, have you ever seen that picture of the iceberg? Like, I'll send it to you guys if I can find it. It's basically a picture of an iceberg. And like the tip of the iceberg is like this much out of the water. And that's all anybody can see. But underneath is massive, which is why the Titanic sunk. So the thing is, like, what goes on underneath that little tiny piece that you see is where all the money is made. And so we're trying to help them see, like, you're just scraping the top. And you think you're doing well. Imagine what you could do if you actually knew what you were doing and you had access to everything that was at full capacity. So that's if you're just going 0 to 100%, right? We have another group of people that are already heavy into crypto, already heavy into DeFi, but they don't necessarily know how to trade crypto, like options trade crypto. And that's like a high level person that we do talk to. But so now with the 0%er, the 25%er that has invested but no crypto, the 70 or the 50%er crypto but not DeFi, right? Then you have the 100%er that's like, I know what I'm doing. Do you think that the conversation is the same? Not at all. At a baseline, y'all, the conversation is the same. But when you really start to actually be able to have a conversation, what you are trying to portray to them to get them to make a move is very different. Because they don't need to hear the same thing as one of the other people. It would be like, I don't know, talking to a third grade teacher that had 30 grand saved in her savings, not super into investing, right? Versus a guy that has $1 million in the stock market and is like, why should I move into crypto? Two completely different conversations that you're having. Vice versa, guy could be the teacher, girl could be the crypto person, doesn't matter. But if you treat one conversation like the other flip-flopped, you're dead in the water. It's not happening. There's no resonating. Because the teacher is going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? And the guy that already has money in the stock market is like, don't talk to me like I'm stupid. And you have to be able to literally identify who's on the phone with you in, I would say, a couple of minutes, like very quickly. And that is how you pivot your conversation to connect with somebody. And the more you connect with them, the more they trust you. The more they trust you, the better everything will be from the time they get off the phone with you till they go to the closing. Does that make sense? The percents of the people that you could talk to? do you have any questions on how you would potentially alter that for your own offer? Those of you who aren't on offer, it's kind of actually tough to do that.
I'm already working the past in a fitness program, and it's that how you say it, there is a percentage of people that try with personal trainers,
Mhm.
nutrition programs, they don't have like the result that they want, and they are coming
Mhm.
to us. That is like 7%, right? 7% of the leads that you said.
Well, don't take, yeah, the percentages are just like a hypothetical. That's not the exact percentages. It's like the percentage of maybe knowledge that they have. So it could be A, B, C, D. It doesn't matter. I just like percentages. It could have been 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just this type of person versus this type versus this type versus that type. So
Okay.
yeah, like it just goes for, and it's true for every offer. You can think about you. If you were on the other side of the phone, who knows nothing about crypto here? Does anyone? No, nothing? Okay. Varsal, Atanas, do you know a little bit? Or are you like
Yeah.
slightly? Okay. So for Ben and Max, if I come in and I'm like, oh yeah, well, I mean, what we do is we're gonna actually blah blah blah. We go on this tangent about all the things and the details you can do in crypto. Y'all two are so lost because you don't know what I'm talking about. And that is why now, on the flip side, if I was going in, maybe Varsal and Atanas know more, and I'm like, well, let me tell you about Bitcoin. It's a cryptocurrency. They're like, yeah, no shit. Like I already know that. And then they don't think they don't think you bring any value because you're talking about something that they already know. Versus the confused person, like maybe Ben or Max, are like, yeah, you've lost me. So especially if you're on like a higher scale offer, whether it has to do with investing, really anything, but investment for sure, you need to really understand who's on the other side of the phone because you can do the work of setting them for the next 20 minutes and it won't matter. The key to all of this is somebody's intricate knowledge level is actually irrelevant. So one of my setters, I was on a one-to-one with him yesterday, and I asked him why his volume of sets was so low. And he's like, well, I mean, a lot of these people just don't know what crypto is. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, well, if they don't understand it, they're not going to buy. Do you think that that is true or false?
False.
100% false.
The way I look at it is like I know pretty much nothing about fitness, right? But if I can identify that I've got a problem and I know what my goal is in terms of where I want to go, and you tell me, well, we've had students in that exact same position that have done exactly that with our training program, and just give me like a brief high level overview. That's it, that's the exact reason I'm coming to a coach in the first place, right? Is because you know and I don't.
Literally, the answer that I gave them. Of course, they don't understand
I
it.
just
I
said.
have a lot of money in crypto. I don't know what the fuck a blockchain is. I don't care. I don't care how the blockchain is built and that, blah, blah, whatever. Doesn't matter. What I care is that they're going to teach me, which I mean, I work for them, so of course, but like in a strategy that makes me money. That's why I'm there to learn. But I'm not there to learn about the blockchain. I mean, technically at a baseline I am, but I'm learning how to use the blockchain for my advantage. I, from a fitness perspective, I'm not looking to learn exactly how the body works and every movement that burns a calorie of fat. I'm just looking for what I need to do to burn the calorie of fat. So now, if you're holding back setting somebody because they don't understand, you're now taking that opportunity away from them because you think that they don't understand, they won't buy. But maybe they would have. And so education level of the details and intricacies is not that important. What's important is they want to make a change and they think you can help them with it, and then they pay you. Their understanding of the science behind it doesn't make a difference. 90% of the time, I'm sure there is people that are like, let me understand everything, but
You know, there's kind of a counter argument to that as well, which is like, well, wouldn't you rather be having conversations with people who don't know anything than guys who know everything? Because their main objection then is just going to be, well, you're already an expert, so what's, just go and figure it out yourself, right? They don't they're less likely to buy because they might not be overly convinced that your program can teach them any more than they already know. With the guys that don't
that's
know as
hard.
much, you can build the gap even bigger, right?
Yeah, and there's definitely people that come in and do know about crypto, and it's sometimes some of my setters are really good at that, some are really not good at it yet. About building the gap between where someone's at and where they want to be. They keep trying to build the gap about money. Well, money may not be it. Like money isn't always the issue. Maybe it's a time thing. Maybe it's the speed to the money. Like just because they already have $1 million doesn't mean they're satisfied.
Mm.
What if they want 2 million and they can't figure out how to get it there? Or maybe they want 2 million and instead of 10 years, they want it in 5. You know, even on like a fitness offer, people are like, oh, but I don't know if I can help them lose the weight. They're already fit. Okay, well, one, what is their definition of fit versus what yours is? Which could be completely different. And two, they're looking into your offer for something. So what is it that they don't have that they want? There's something. It could be this big, y'all, this big. And then as a great sitter, you expand it to something this big that they didn't even realize it could get that big. So all you're looking for is like the tiniest piece of something that can be something you can build, like an ember that turns into a fucking forest fire. That's what's happening. You just need the tiniest little thing to build up, because most of the time they don't even realize this little thing is way bigger than that. They're like, oh, it's really not that big of a deal. I don't know. I'm gonna have to work the rest of my life. People have said this. Like, I won't ever be able to retire, but it's not terrible. I like to work. What? What do you mean? And sometimes people are like, okay, cool. That is not cool. Stop saying that's cool. It's not cool. If we were to break down that person in a good way, not like break them down, you know what I mean? But break down their situation of, okay, well, you're okay with working forever. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. How many hours do you work? Well, I work 10 hours a day. Okay, got it. Do you have weekends off? Only one day. Okay. What? If you don't mind me asking, how old are you? I'm 65. So you're gonna work 10 hours a day, 6 days a week for like potentially another 10 or 20 years? Is that what I'm hearing? That would be insane. Do you have grandkids? Do you have kids? Yeah, I have kids, grandkids. I'm like, wow, when do you spend any time with them? Well, I don't really because my job. I'm like, that's crazy. And all of a sudden, this person who's like, yeah, it's okay. I'm not gonna retire. I love to work is like, they're never gonna ever have time. They're not gonna spend time with their family, their grandkids, anything else. And like, if you stopped working, could you still like support yourself? Well, no, I didn't build up a retirement. Now it's like, well, what would happen if you could not work anymore? Then what? Crickets. Because they have no nest egg, they have no nothing. They're assuming they can work, but what if they can't? So this little tiny thing that someone didn't even think was an issue, they didn't even mind it, is way bigger than that. You can walk behind me. It's okay. You see what I'm saying? Like little things are way bigger than that. So don't take a don't take like a surface level answer for at all, for one. Always trying to understand the deeper level of that answer, because that is why somebody buys. I don't know the price of like the programs y'all are working for, but if it's anywhere, I mean, to be honest, in the thousands, like that's a lot of money to someone, right? If someone has 500K in the bank, 5K may not be that much, but if someone only has 20K in the bank, 5K is a fucking lot. That's 25% of what they have. So I know what we're talking about is like, wow, that's a lot of stuff for a set call. But if you think logically through all of that, you will be a better setter. Because the only way you make money as a setter is if the call goes, shows up, and the closer closes it. First and foremost, you got to get them to show up. They only show up if they think you're going to do something for them that they cannot do for themselves. And all of what we just talked about lends to that. The second piece of that is the closer has to close them. The closer you put them to the buying pocket, the more belief they have that what y'all do can help, the easier it is for the closer to do their job. Now you might say, well, that's the closer's job. Well, yeah, but it's your money too, so don't think that way. What can you do to make the closer's job easier? Because I don't care if it's the closer's job. I want to make sure that my set's close. So I'm doing all that I can. I'll give them a lay down. I don't care. Take your 10% commission. I don't care. I want my commission on that. So the more perspective change that someone has on the call with you, the more they show up. Like the more likely they are for your show rate to stay high. And that is like a game changer as a setter. If your show rate is low, it's like near impossible to get good numbers. And two, you really want that close on the first call, because the second they get off that phone, your chances of getting that close drop, I think, in half. I don't know what the actual stat is, but it feels like half. So I'm doing everything I can to get them closer to the buying pocket on the first call. Yeah, it's probably more than that. Maybe 80%. I don't know. I don't want to like quote a percent that I don't actually know, but feels like a lot, at least for our company. The higher ticket your program is, the more that number will probably go up, because they get off the phone, they have time to think about it, they have time to let all those thoughts that have already stopped them from doing something in the past seep right back in. Side note, but it's just it's making me think about it. Has anybody here ever watched Survivor? If you haven't, it's not going to make any sense. That's a
I
no.
don't think so.
Shit. Oh, it's going to be such a good analogy if you had. Long story short, Survivor is it's a show. It's a reality TV show where these people are put on this island. They have to go through all these challenges, and then the social part is they have to vote each other out. So they're all talking, and there's a lot of backstabbing going on, right? They have these things called idols that save them, but they have to play the idol at the right time. Now, what happens is people get voted out with that idol that saves their life in the game in their pocket. Why do you think it's still in their pocket and they didn't play it? What do you think happens in their mind? It's like the worst thing ever to get voted out of the game with the idol, because you literally have safety with it for that vote. Like, why do you think they don't use it and they keep it in their pocket? Just random thoughts. You've never seen the show, so there's not a right or wrong answer.
Because you think there might become another situation in the future where you need it even more than you need it now.
Yes, 100%. They try and like, but I can push it to one more day. I can push it one more day. But the reality of it is, and everybody before that had the thought that I need to use it. I feel like some people are against me. I feel like I need to save myself and I need to use it. And then they don't, because of that exact reason. They're like, ooh, but I think I'm okay, so I'm gonna push it one more day. And then they freaking go home. Mind you, I didn't tell you the game is for winning $1 million. Okay. So you forfeit your million because you let your mind get in the way and tell you that you're safe so you can extend your idol. This is the same thing that happens with people. They want to save their money. Their money is like rich to them. So they're like, oh, but I can do it by myself, so I can save that money. But they aren't going to do it by themselves, or they would have already. So they keep, not buying, not taking action because they think they can do it. They think they can do it. But guess what? It's been 5 years and they haven't done it yet. So the second you let someone get off the phone, all those like, oh, but I could do so much with that 10,000 or whatever the price was, that we lose them. Or they get online, they see one bad review out of 1,000 and they're like, I can't do this. Like, so the goal would be to get a one call close and ensure that your numbers are really, really good.
I had this situation the other day actually where I'd got to kind of I don't know if this is a solution awareness question. I guess it falls under that category where she'd already spoken with a competitor and decided not to do their program. And I think part of it came down to finances, but a lot more of it was feeling that she could do it herself. And I didn't set her until like I wanted to give her time to decide whether she was ready to commit to a program or whether she still did want to do it herself, right? She was still deciding which avenue she wanted to go down. Now, was I right to not set her? Is there some homework I could have given her? Could I try to guide her through that decision myself without just sending her on her way? Because that could be an eternal conversation in her own mind.
So she thought she could do it herself, essentially, even after your conversation with her.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, one, there was, I mean, you can't always change somebody's mind, but typically what probably happened is that you didn't really ask the right questions to help her see that that was not right. Because if someone thinks they can do it on their own, you haven't shown them that they can't, right? So let's backtrack that a little bit.
Hmm.
The basis of that would be, where do you want to be goals wise? What are you looking to achieve? What have you tried in the past? Why didn't that work? What do you think's held you back? How long have you been trying? Why do you feel like you haven't achieved that in that time? To really start to flush out the problem. There's an issue in there somewhere. Or she would already, like, if you think you can do it on your own, why haven't you yet? It's the whole basis.
Yep.
And you sometimes you just have to ask that. Like, and obviously don't be an asshole about it, but like, hey, Ben, like I don't mean to be rude here by any means, but I guess I'm just curious. Seems like you feel like you can do it on your own. But from what I've heard, you haven't been able to accomplish it on your own. So what do you think is going to be different now?
I haven't tried to do it on my own.
You haven't tried to do it on your own yet?
No.
Okay. Was that her? This is not in the role play. This is a question. Had she not
Oh.
tried to do it on her own?
No, so she was a contractor.
Oh.
Like built AI. She was an AI engineer or software engineer. So she'd worked for like some big companies like Vodafone, but she's always between contracts. And her last contract had just come to an end, and now she's
Mhm.
thinking like, I think, to be honest, maybe there was a little bit more going on than that, which is like still trying to decide which avenue she wanted to go down. Is like, could I take another contract on? Could I pivot a little bit? If I am gonna pivot, could I do it myself, or should I rely on a training and mentorship provider? Like maybe she was just a little bit too top of funnel, if that's the right
Yeah.
word.
Yeah. with someone like that, I definitely think you're right to not set.
Mm,
Because if she has that many things swirling around in her mind, guaranteed no show. She's gonna book the call and then she's just off in her own little world. Because people that are like, I want to make more money. Okay. They're like, yeah, I'm gonna get into some real estate investing. I'm gonna go ahead and, put some money in an AI bot trading. I'm gonna go ahead and, move some money over here with the stockbroker. They're all over the place that none of their 100% attention is going to one place.
mm,
And they're putting a little bit into each of those sections, which a little bit doesn't make you a lot. And so someone like that, 100% the right move is to let her start to get some focus because it's never going to work. Now you can help her with that on the phone. I was like, okay, well, why would you go towards something over the other? What are the pros of that versus this? The cons of that
Mm.
versus this? And you should always, 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 guys, have a list of what your competitors are, not the people, but the industries, and like the downfalls to that industry. So for us, it would
Yeah.
be real estate investing, stock market, options, AI bot trading, a lot of different investment styles. And what the negatives are to those versus us. The positives of crypto versus those. And it's not for you to be like, oh, let me give you the laundry list of reasons this won't work. Not for that. It would be for the example of, you said you wanted to be in control, which is why you didn't like going into the stock market because you didn't understand how to do it and someone else had to manage your money for you and you wanted to be in control. Yeah. Okay, cool. Not to burst your bubble here, but with an AI bot, you are not in control at all. That's like a little bit of a doubt builder in the AI bot or real estate. They're like, I want, I don't really have that much to get started. Okay, well, how do you plan on doing real estate then? Well, no, I know it's going to take time. It's like, I understand that too, but you just mentioned that you want to retire in 2 years. Do you think you're going to be able to do that in 2 years? Utilizing the percent returns you just told me. Like you want to understand the other industries that compete with you so that you can talk intelligently to them.
mm.
Because the objections are naturally going to come up with people. I think I'm just going to do this. I'm like, okay, well, why? This is what you said. And that doesn't really do that. Have you found maybe another way to cash flow faster with real estate? Or you see what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
there's a pitfall to everything. There's a pitfall to crypto as well. Like, if someone's like, Ben, no, I'm not going to do real estate. I'm actually going to invest in crypto. What would you say? You probably don't know right now, but you should know.
No, right now I don't know, but I was doing that
No.
on my previous offer. Yeah, shitting on trading and how
In a
um,
nice way.
yeah, how
Mhm.
what is it? Up and down it is, inconsistent,
Mhm.
volatile,
Mhm.
things like this. Yeah, that was always the one. Drop shipping has been done. It's been rinsed and repeated many times. Too competitive. SMMA is everyone's building websites and looking after Google Ads now. AI is brand new. It's on everyone's lips. Business owners want to have the conversation about it.
You should always know the industries that can hurt you. And just a little bit information about them. Not a ton. And you can even say like, I'm not super familiar with real estate, but from what I know, it doesn't cash flow super quickly. Is the
Mm.
program you're looking into different? No, it's different. Oh, really? What did they say it was gonna do? I mean, I have no idea. I'm actually curious at that point.
Yeah.
But you should always have just a little bit of knowledge about the industries that can be an objection or anything they could do that would be an objection. I'm going to do nothing. What would you say to that? Well, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Good on you. Best of luck.
Like, really? Why? Why do you want to do that? Well, I just don't really fully understand what this is. It's like nobody understands fully without learning it. That's the point of education.
Yeah.
So,
Can I ask a
Yeah.
question about so it sort of ties into this, but more based on the conversation a little bit earlier on, which is like, although you as a setter or as a closer don't necessarily need to be an expert in the field, if you are dealing with somebody who's already kind of in the industry and you come up against them, you obviously need to have some level of understanding of the industry and things like this to be able to have a valid conversation with them. I mean, if they're talking about the problems that they've been facing, but you can't understand that contextually, you're going to be kind of at a loss, right? I don't know if you'd agree with that.
No, not really. The most important part is that they're having a problem that isn't in the industry you're in. That you can fix. That's all. Whether
But
you
let's say
actually understand it to a deep level is kind of irrelevant. But give me an example. Maybe I'm not understanding you right.
well, like if you got like one of your setters gets on a call with somebody who's like already invested in crypto, and they're like, "Well, why do you feel like you're not getting there as fast as you'd like to, goals wise?" And they're like,
Mhm.
"Oh, well, I'm using this platform at the moment, and it's got X limitation and da 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 whatever." Um, that for me as a setter, that would just throw me off completely because I'm not aware of the platform. I'm not aware of like what these different platforms kind of do, da da da. And would that not limit my ability to actually understand the problem?
Well, no, because at a high level, you still need to understand what the high level problem is. Because all you know is these, like, what is the high level issue? Is the platform not working right for them? Are they not seeing the returns they want? Like, what's happening is the key. You see what I'm
Okay.
saying? So it's not the details of the problem, it's just the problem. Like, what's the actual issue? They
Got
don't
it.
know how to use them. Well, that's perfect. Yeah, I know that. Like, of course you don't know how to use them. Most people don't. Or is it you don't know how to use them to get the proper returns? Like, we need to know the problem, not the like intricate issue that they're having. So for real estate investing, I don't know what they would say. I've never been on a real estate investing offer, but
Well, it'd be like I think one of the common problems that we come up against is people struggling with financing. So it's like, well, I've applied for this loan and that loan, and I wasn't approved for whatever reason. Da 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 da. So then it's kind of like, do I actually need to have some knowledge about the different loans that are available, or am I
mm,
okay to just go, this person is having problems with financing. We've helped a lot of people who have been in that same situation. We can help you figure that out, kind of thing.
yeah, I don't think that you need to know the intricacies. You just need to help them understand that typically people have trouble financing because the way their business is structured or something like that. You don't need to
Got
know
it.
like the type of loan and this and that.
Okay.
Now,
Okay.
what is the trouble with financing? Keeping them from reaching is the most important part. That's the problem. The trouble with the financing isn't the problem. It's the effect that the trouble with the financing is having
Mm.
that they need help with and guidance. So yeah, it's sometimes it's like it's a kind of a push and pull. Sometimes you want to think a little deeper and sometimes you can't think that deep and you have to look for the problem outside all the little details that are giving you.
Yeah. Got it. Got it.
Cool.
Yes, I think with my previous offer, like I mean, I came from a digital marketing background, so to be talking to people about setting up an agency, which is pretty much the same model, was like a fairly easy for me to understand. But honestly, I
Mm.
got no, and I'm sure like you probably didn't know too much about crypto when you first started on your offer, or maybe you knew a little bit, but maybe not all the intricacies. I'm now at like I really don't know anything about real estate. How am I supposed to have conversations with these people? Like, should I be investing some of my time into going through some of the course maybe, or jumping on ChatGPT, or
I would go through the course for sure.
yeah, I'm thinking that.
Yeah, for sure. Um, sweet.
Cool.
All right, guys. I will have Michael post this when the recording downloads. I have to hop, but I appreciate you guys. Thanks for hopping on. Hopefully that was helpful. Y'all can message me in school as usual if you have any questions or thoughts on what we talked about today. And then I will see you guys next week at, I think it's 12 Eastern now. Is that right? I don't know. It's 7 here for me, so it's 6 my time. But yeah, if y'all have any questions, hit me up on school. If not, I will
12
see you.
Eastern, you're right, by the way.
Okay. Okay, cool.
Yep.
So, oh no, it's 1 now. It's
It's
1 for
1
you.
now. Yeah, but it's 1 o'clock
Gotcha.
Eastern now, but it starts at 12 Eastern, so it would start at 1 p.m.
6.
Central, right?
I don't know. 12 o'clock Eastern. Somebody else do the math.
We'll be there next
Okay,
week. It's on the
cool.
calendar.
Yeah, it's on the calendar. All right, guys. I appreciate you.
Awesome.
See you soon.
Thanks, Caitlin.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Yep. See ya.